still unfolding in connection with the cleanup of Sandy, the superstorm that hit the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, and so on. I thought you might be interested in seeing a few photos and some information I had put together for the PMI New York City chapter. I contacted the New York City chapter right after the hurricane and worked with the chapter to put together a way of having other PMI chapters maybe donate some money to the funds to help clean up Staten Island and New Jersey. So the New York City chapter had an awards dinner about 2 weeks ago, and Joshua, the president of the chapter, asked me if I would do a brief presentation on what was going on to recover from Sandy and to get a kind of first-hand look. So I'm just going to show you a few slides that I put together for this session that the chapter had formed, and it was a combination of awards dinner and also fundraising. So I'm just going to switch over from our webinar for just a few minutes to talk about Sandy and give you some insight on some of the things that are associated with disaster recovery and business continuity. So hopefully you can all see this slide. It says Recovering from Superstorm Sandy, Community Unites. And I started out by defining what a disaster is: a sudden calamitous event bringing great damage, loss, or destruction, a sudden or great misfortune. Now that's a picture of Staten Island, New York. A few days after the storm had passed us, we got hit with a snowstorm. And we only got 6 inches of snow in Staten Island, but other parts of New Jersey and inland got up to a foot or more. So it was, here we are dealing with this total devastation, and on top of that, terrible weather. So there was no heat, no electric, lots and lots of damage, and people struggling with that. So it was pretty amazing as far as an actual experience. Now, this slide that I put up here, years ago, someone told me, and you've probably all heard it, it said that hope is not a plan. So we don't really have hope as a plan in project management, but I kept thinking about that, and the one thing that I did kind of come together and I put this quote that said, hope is not a plan, but a plan brings hope. So, you are all project managers. You've done a number of different things over the years to get things done. And if you think about it, if you do put a plan together, it sets direction. It gives people a sense that we're going to accomplish things. It gives them a mission and objectives. So the idea behind this is that by having a good plan, that people can certainly raise their hope that things are going to happen. Unfortunately, things are running a little bit slow in New York in terms of getting aid to a lot of people, and that is something that I hope that the government's going to step up to. But a plan is really the key. If we can have a plan, we have direction, then we have a place to go, and people will feel that they're eventually going to get back to normal. This is another scene of Staten Island down in Midland Beach area, and you can see that most of the houses down there had about, I don't know, from the storm surge was about 13 feet. So if you look at the house all the way in the back behind those people where the gutter is, that's about where the water was for a lot of houses. So most of the houses had to be completely gutted. So you saw just this scene was repeated several times all over the south shore of Staten Island where people were by the water. This is kind of an interesting thing. But these are boats that wound up in somebody's backyard from one of the marinas. And that's about a quarter of a mile inland from where the marina was. You can see just how powerful that storm was. You can tell that, there used to be a house right there. This is a scene near a place called Olympic Boulevard near Midland Beach, and you can actually look out to where the ocean came in, and actually they're standing where there used to be a house. This is the spirit that people had. You can take our home, but you can't take our heart. You can see that the house is completely boarded up, and if you look at it, the ceiling there in the doorway has been ripped out, and that entire house is gutted. There's nothing left inside except the walls. people do need to have a plan, and they need to hope that they're going to get some help. And so you see this scene, like I said, was repeated many, many times over in Staten Island and New Jersey. Just a few things about, since this is a webinar and part of our goal here is to get you at least one PDU. We try to cover a bunch of different bases here. But I picked up a couple of quotes here that I thought you might be interested in. Preparing for disasters like a poker game. You are dealt a hand that you have no control over and try to improve the situation while the stakes continue to grow. Most of you have seen the movie, I think, Forrest Gump. Actually, it says disaster recovery is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It should probably say disaster is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Of course, disaster happens, and I pulled something from the U.S. Marine Corps Handbook. Success depends in large part on the ability to adapt to a constantly changing situation. Those of you that are project managers pretty much understand what that's all about. So a few other things about disaster recovery. And if you're interested, if you go to www.drj.com, that's Disaster Recovery Journal, you can find out an enormous amount of information about what people are doing in the area of disaster recovery, business continuity. You can even look into getting certifications in that particular field. Primary objective of disaster recovery is planning, is protect the community in the event that all or part of its operations or services are rendered unusable. Preparedness is the key. It's a lesson I think all of you as project managers have learned, that being prepared and anticipating is really a major part of the job. I use a quote from Louis Pasteur. His quote was, "Chance favors the prepared mind." So we pretty much have to be ready for things to happen. Okay, other objectives. If you have a plan, you do provide a sense of security. In the terms of municipalities, the cities and states and so on, they really have to find a way to clearly manage public safety, and that includes evacuations. And I think that if you look at the work that was done, especially in New Jersey, the evacuation process, I mean, that's an awful lot of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were evacuated from the areas that were going to be hit by the storm. So just think about the planning and the project management that goes into the evacuation of large populations. We have to find ways to minimize the risk of getting relief, which is a key thing, and I think a lot of people learned some lessons from Katrina back in New Orleans back in 2005. I think it was 2005, right? Standard for testing. One of the things that I know about disaster recovery is if you don't test your plan, then you don't have a plan. So it's something that you should be doing all the time. Some other scenes from hurricane. So when you see these kinds of pictures, you really can see the impact and the devastation what people are going through to recover. So things to consider: where you're located, how vulnerable are you, and what are you doing about it? What kind of personal disaster plan do you have? The climate. Okay, if you're in Florida, your climate's going to be different than it is in New York. Unfortunately, we in New York City never really experienced a serious hurricane. We've had, in the last 100 years, maybe one or two serious storms, but this surpassed anything that we were ready for. So we need to rethink our vulnerability. We need to understand that there are key community services that need to be in place. The primary concern, of course, being people. And absolutely, and most of us realize how important telecommunications is when we start to lose some of these facilities. So we have to find methods of communication besides our cell phones. What else can we, how are we going to communicate? Telephone, internet, and things like that. It involves the entire community. And you notice that the word community is getting to be very popular in the project management world, but that's what we are. Your team is a community, your company is a community, the network that we have of project managers is a community, and PMI, IPMA, all communities. So again, we need to think about planning for recovery in the future, planning for continuity, making sure that we have the appropriate supply routes and emergency operations centers and so on. So I just thought it would be a good idea to just emphasize that although the storm has passed and there isn't as much in the news as there has been, and donations are actually down, that there are still people out there that can't move back into their houses, and there's still quite a bit of devastation and years of cleanup to come. So, let's not forget about it and start thinking in terms of your own communities and what you're doing, not only in your home, but in your workplace, to do the kinds of things that will get you ready for, unfortunately, the next disaster that will probably come. It's not a matter of if, it's really, we have so many things going on that we need to be prepared. So I thought it would be a minute to take a few minutes just to re-emphasize the impact of Sandy, that there's lots and lots of effort going on. And I like to think that there's a lot of project managers out there that are helping with the community cleanup and things that are happening in all the devastated areas. So develop a community strategy, establish standards and guidelines, define and assign roles, make sure that people know what they're supposed to do. All of the levels of the community should be involved, from the average citizen to the leaders of your community, the borough presidents, the mayors, things like that. Make sure you have a good community communications plan and a good process for decisions. So those are just some quick lessons learned on disaster recovery and business continuity. At the top, you'll see we're all in this together, and it's important for us to stay focused on these very important parts of life that we'll be dealing with. Okay, and with that, I'm going to switch over to the volunteer webinar. And if you have any questions, Kay Weiss is assisting me by fielding questions and things like that. And if something comes up, she will point me in that direction, and I'll address your questions. We should also have time at the end of this webinar for questions. And just as a kind of a disclaimer, from the hurricane, the days after the hurricane, I was doing some volunteer work. I was helping certain businesses clean out their buildings and begin the recovery process, and did some volunteer work to help communities serving food and organizing deliveries. And that time I spent doing that, working pretty much in ice-cold conditions, got me pretty sick. So I've been fairly ill for a while, and I was just recovering from this upper respiratory infection, and unfortunately my schedule and the things that I do got me started up again, and I'm actually having a relapse a little bit. So if I don't sound as energetic as you would expect me to be, and you might hear me pause once in a while, you have to know that I'm slightly under the weather, and I'm going to do my best to get this information to you, but I have to tell you I'm only operating at about 80%, so just you have to bear with me on that, okay? Anyway, most of you know what International Project Management Day is. We started that. That was an idea that I started back in when I was attending the PMI Leadership Institute Master's class, and Jerry Brightman, the professor, said that he wanted us to go out and change the world. So I came up with International Project Management Day, which was launched with its first official webinar in 2005, and it's grown quite a bit since 2005. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've accomplished this year and some strategies going forward. So you'll see the topic: the State of IPM Day Volunteer Information Webinar, the strategies for the future. Now, IPM Day 2012 was actually a record year. We had more people and more chapters and more conferences and events than in any previous year. I had to put the International Institute for Learning on top here because they have an amazing virtual conference that attracted over 37,000 people to watch multiple videos. It was all pre-recorded. I'm actually doing one of the videos. Greg Ballestero, the former CEO of PMI, is doing one. Dr. Harold Kersner, a friend of mine, Carl Ballack, a number of people have recorded these very interesting, compelling videos, which are available free for your viewing until December 31st. So I'm just putting them out in front here because they just have attracted so many people and have really kept International Project Management Day growing. We had 22 PMI chapters, 17 countries, 11 corporate presentations, 7 cities give us proclamations, 1 county and 3 states. That's governors proclaiming the day. So those of you that have an opportunity to work with your community, whether it's a local municipality, the mayor, or the governor or anything. I think somebody said, why don't we get in touch with President Obama and see if he'll proclaim 2013. So you know what? We might as well try it, right? Who knows? He's a techie kind of a guy, kind of likes to reach out. I think he's interested in projects, so maybe we could get him to do a proclamation, presidential proclamation. Oh, they're pretty interesting. Okay. So anyway, those are some of the things that just the magnitude of what IPM Day is now, and it's growing and growing. And this is not a complete picture because I think there were many more events out there that we have not captured yet. So if you know of any, ask people to go to the IPM Day website and just let us know about the event that they had. This is a special thing. When I was up in Vancouver at the PMI World Congress, I met with Kay Weiss and a person by the name of Rachel Snee. She's a trainer for a very large power company, and she decided to do something for International Project Management Day, and part of that was that they encouraged people in their organization to recognize people that were involved in projects, and they received over 1,000 recognitions within her company, which is really amazing. So one of the things that you can do, which really is no effort on your part, really would be to just get people to send in acknowledgments. You know, the whole purpose of International Project Management Day is about acknowledging project managers and project teams. You know, some people say we're celebrating International Project Management Day, but it's really not a celebration. It's more of, it's a recognition. I look at project management, and many people I think would agree, as the unappreciated profession. You know, people are not necessarily, they don't understand what project managers do, and they don't realize just how much work is involved, even in small projects. So recognition is the key, not so much celebration. And I think Rachel has a great idea that where they got people inside their company to take the time to recognize those folks involved in projects, and they got over 1,000. And I thought that was a great thing to know about, and I wanted to share that. So I'm giving Rachel special recognition for that. We also did a number of different things in 2012, and we're lining up for 2013. We did webinars. Jim Franklin in June did an excellent webinar on mind mapping software. What a great job on it, which is recorded, and these are all available on the International Project Management Day website. Brian Monroe did Leadership Gold. You know, Brian is a certified John C. Maxwell leader and coach, mentor and coach, and real excellent, you know, if we want to call them nuggets of knowledge on leadership. Great presentation. Then Eric Versa, who wrote the book, The Fast Forward MBA in Project Management, did a program on high-performance teams, highly interactive, lots of inspiring information, and it was very, very informative. I did a session called The State of Project Management, where we are and where we're going, and it talks about, you know, what we see as trends in project management, where how far we've come along in terms of technology and acceptance in corporations, but also what the future is holding in many ways in connection with the profession or the career in project management. Then we were supposed to do the PMI Educational Foundation. Unfortunately, the date around the time we were supposed to do that webinar, that's the day that Hurricane Sandy hit. So we are going to reschedule the PMI Educational Foundation webinar, and their focus will be on you know, the youth in project management, the programs that they have about life skills and so on. It's just very inspiring. So we're going to encourage you to look for the news brief about that. Our website is completely redone by Frank Pollack. He's a former chapter president of the Atlanta chapter, and We've really come a long way with the website. It's getting more and more attention. We still have more work to do. We have to spend more time with it, but it's a nice new look, and we're getting a lot of attention. We also have a director of volunteers, Mark, and I'm not sure, Mark, if I'm going to pronounce your name right, Bonames, but I'll get it right. Anyway, Mark, and Mark, I had asked if he would say a few words at this session, but we're going to have Mark actually speak in a future volunteer sessions. But he's been organizing, getting people to step up to some of the things that we need to do to really organize the ideas behind IPM Day, and also the future plans that we're going to talk about in the next couple of minutes. Okay, a few other people I'd like to recognize. Naomi put together a program which was delivered on International Project Management Day in Women in Project Management. She put together a panel discussion which was recorded and released on November 1st, and a great way to show how women have impacted the profession of project management, how they're part of the growing opportunities that are out there and so on. So Naomi did a great job. And then we have, we call him Young, Na Wee Young. He became the director of the Young People in Project Management. One of the themes for 2012, besides the fact that we focus on the power of the profession as the main theme, we looked at women in project management and also young people in project management, and we're encouraging people, PMI chapters, corporations, you individually, to work with people, young people, to have them start thinking about the skills that you need to be a project manager, to be an effective project manager. And the Educational Foundation emphasizes what they call life skills. So if you think about project management, what you're finding is that these skills on how to deal with people, how to be a leader, how to be a manager, scheduling, planning, all of these are life skills that we would like to, encourage people in grammar school and high school to start to learn. So I think it's important that we can continue that effort in the area of working with the youth in project management. Now, we also have a project that's in progress, and it's called The Day in the Life of a Project Manager. It's a book project that Elaine Jackson is the project manager for. And what we did here is we have, I think, 44 project managers stepped up and wrote brief stories about their experiences as being a project manager, real-life stories. And we collected up all these stories, and Elaine had a group of people doing evaluations of these stories and helping them to construct them and so on. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the details behind this book. The original target date for the book was November 1st. We were really trying to get it out on International Project Management Day, but we did run into a number of logistical and administrative issues, and also the hurricane pushed back things also. But I'm going to give you a quick update on where we stand with that book and the next steps. But I'd like to thank Elaine Jackson, who put in an enormous amount of time to pull together all this, and we're nearly there, and it won't be long before we get this thing done. We also started a Facebook page so that we can give people some idea of what's going on. I just posted something, I think, 2 days ago. Some of you may be familiar with that recording that I put up on YouTube, the Project Manager Blues. And when I was in Vancouver, I met with Doug Orlando, who was part of the leadership meeting advisory team, and he's also a keyboard player, has his own band, and we're kind of collaborating. And the PMI Leadership Meeting and World Congress for North America will be in New Orleans in October of 2013, and we decided that we think we need to do a live version of the Project Manager Blues amongst other songs of the Project Manager. So between now and then, we're going to be writing some new songs and putting together a little bit of an event, and we think it's going to turn out to be a major event. So if you're thinking about coming to New Orleans, look for the live PMI Project Manager Band led by myself singing a couple of songs and having a great time to emphasize the value of the project manager and International Project Management Day. I've got an official logo, and you can see that at the bottom of the slide there. Really captures the world, and we're going to see that on a lot of different items that we're producing going forward. We're putting out more news briefs. We've got a regular process of news briefs using Constant Contact, and we created the IPM Day store. It's got T-shirts and shirts and mugs and things like that to use as gifts when you are having your event or you want to recognize people that are involved in managing projects. So we've actually done quite a bit in 2012, and it's opening up the doors for 2013. Now, just to talk a little bit about the day in the life of a PM book, the information that I have there is the book publisher is requiring this information in this order, and we're going to say that this is the industry standard. You've got to have a title, got to have a copyright page. Another thing we have to have is a dedication. Who is this book dedicated to? And it's actually dedicated to all working, practicing project managers. A preface, which is being written by Elaine Jackson. We are going to acknowledge all of our authors, and we've got most of the acknowledgments in, and that'll be up in the front part of the book. And then, of course, the table of contents and main body. Now, it's the main body where we're having our greatest challenge. This has to be one continuous document, okay? And it has to be done in a certain font, certain style font. There's only a few that we can actually use with the publisher. And we were going through correcting some grammar and some punctuation and things like that. So when you have 44 different stories and 44 different styles of writing and trying to pull together into one document, it becomes a bit of a challenge. So we're getting that done. We expect to get that done soon. And there will be another news brief out giving you the date when we expect this to be published. It's going to come out as an ebook first, and it will have an ISBN. And we'll make sure that all the authors get a copy of that book. And then depending on the interest in the book, we might make some hard copies and get the hard copies to all the authors and people involved. So those are things that are happening with the book right now. It's still alive. It's still moving forward. We just had a couple of unfortunate delays, illness, hurricanes, logistic issues, and things like that. But it was a real learning experience, and the people that were involved, Elaine's main team, did an excellent job of pulling together a rather difficult project. So I thank them for the work that they did, and we expect to get that book completed very, very soon. Now let's talk some strategies for the future for IPM Day. The IPM Day concept, like I said, has been around since 2004, but my idea was pretty much just get people to recognize and thank project managers. It is growing and growing and growing, and we are doing some things that actually cost some money. And so the idea is to actually form a not-for-profit organization which will help us to further the recognition of project management. And it's not in any way a competition with any of the other professional organizations that are out there. We're looking for a way to have an actual entity that would make a difference in the project management community in terms of recognition. So we haven't thought through anything like dues, and it probably wouldn't be anything like that, but there might be a need for sponsors who would help us to do various programs and to get information out, and also to support other organizations that are doing events. Where it says official IPM Day event, all of the events for IPM Day right up through 12/12 have all been done by corporations and private companies and PMI chapters and things like that. What we're talking about now is that the IPM Day core team of people and the people that kind of organized what International Project Management Day is, we need to have an actual official event of our own. So that is in the beginning stages of planning. We're thinking about, well, the idea is that we want to give back to the community. So it's really about helping project managers, and so a thought is to kind of wrap this International Project Management Day event around something called the Project Manager Exchange. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. We plan to do more webinars. We'd like to do at least one webinar a month. So if you are a speaker, or if you know of a speaker who would like to offer 1 hour to do some topic related to project management, leadership, team building, anything along the lines of what we commonly see in the PMBOK, or struggling to fix projects that are in trouble, anything like that, we'd be looking for speakers who would like to step up and be part of the program. Part of the not-for-profit status in the IPM Day event would be that we would want to spend more time in 2013 looking for some sponsors that would help us to pay for things like the website, constant contact, and some of the other programs and items that we're developing. I mentioned earlier the networking social in New Orleans, PMI North American World Congress. I think it would be great since generally at these congresses you get several thousand people, so anywhere from 2,000 to 35, even 4,000, 3,500, 4,000 people. It would be a great opportunity, especially in New Orleans if you've been there, which is the land of music and fun and things like that, to actually have a networking social with some entertainment that had a little bit of a power of the profession theme to it. So we are going to be looking for people to help us pull that together. But I think that that should be a great way to really show that you can be a professional project manager and you can be serious, and at the same time we can have a good time with some music. So anyway, that's on the drawing board. That's something I think will happen. We do need a news brief team. Myself and Kay are pretty much the news brief team right now, and trying to do our regular functions of our businesses and training and teaching and things like that, and then doing IPM Day. It's really gotten to be a lot of work, so we are looking for people to help us to build on this and grow this concept. We have a sister city idea that has just got launched last year, and we're going to expand on that, and that's to get cities that are doing events or planning something around project management to connect with other cities. I think Nashville and there's a city in Canada, right? Not Toronto, but it might be Toronto, where the two different organizations have come together to share ideas on International Project Management Day and other things. And we'd like to see that become much more international. And, of course, more products and ideas. And if you have any ideas for products for the IPM Day store, that we would welcome your comments. Just send us a note via email or post something up on the website. Expansion of volunteer activities. To be real specific here, the webinars, we are planning to do these one a month. We're going to need people. Some people have already stepped up and said that they would do it. We'll get in touch with those folks, and we're going to set up a training program so that they can get familiar with this tool that we're using, GoToMeeting, and then they'd be able to coordinate with the speakers that we're lining up and be doing a webinar each each month. I just lost my. Okay, just if you can go on and just tell him I just lost power and we'll boot back up.
Frank has just lost his power, but he will be back with us in just a minute. He's replugging it in, so bear with us for just a moment, please. So if you haven't been hearing something, it's not on your end. It's on our end. Coming back to you in just a moment.
Completely forgot about this.
We'll be back with you in just a moment. Thank you for bearing with us. We have 25 people participating today, and I think at the end we're going to be having an interactive discussion where we're writing down some of the questions that have been coming in, and we'll probably open up some mics at the end here too.
Okay, it might be about a minute before I get this thing back up.
Looks like Frank will be back with us in just 1 minute.
I was just talking about disaster recovery. Didn't realize I didn't have my laptop plugged in.
One of the things that Frank had just been talking about was the Sister City program, and I pulled up the notes of the participants for that this last year, and it was PMI Nashville, Tennessee, and PMI Mountain View, California. So we're hoping to get a lot more participants in that next year, but that was a good start, some lessons learned, and Laura Fraser is leading that effort for us. We're seeing your screen again, Frank, and I'm assuming your mic is probably back on as well.
Okay, can you hear me?
Great. Okay. All right, sorry about that.
I'm talking about disaster recovery,
and I'm doing my presentation, and I realized that I did not plug my laptop in, and the screen just went blank. So you'll have to give me like the merit for not verifying that I had my power on. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Kay. So news brief volunteers, we need people to help us to organize that, to write some articles. I know that everybody gets lots and lots of email. We don't want to send too many of these out, but we do have to keep a presence. So there will be an occasional news brief about what's happening with International Project Management Day. I did send one out only about a week ago as a thank you and an official recognition of everybody that was involved in International Project Management Day 2012. And I tried to make that a very heartfelt message about my goal and our goal as a team of people here is to make sure that people do understand just how important project management is, that you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere, you can't get your job done without somebody working on some kind of a project somewhere. So we just want to make sure that we enforce that and reinforce and emphasize the importance of the project manager. We will need, as we move forward with the not-for-profit planning, we're going to need a board of directors, which means that if people are interested, they're going to have to send in a resume, and you know, they have to make a commitment to it. There isn't any cost here to do that, but we do need to get a more strategic planning pulled together here, more ideas on how to expand out. One of the things that you should keep in mind is that right now our mailing list of constant contact is about 3,500 people, and we also have email and word of mouth and things like that. We need to reach out to, according to PMI, there are somewhere between 15 million and 20 million people that are either project managers or somehow engaged in planning projects. Now, if you think about that, that's a huge, huge number. And PMI, as an organization right now, is about 375,000 members. So we have a lot of work to do to reach out to these major corporations that are managing projects and really kind of focus on the value of not only having a strong project management methodology, but also having strong project managers who have these life skills that are associated with both managing and leading. Okay. Now, where it says organize local IPM Day events, what we have been doing in the past is pretty much advertising and encouraging various places to have events, and we're tracking them. What we would like to do going forward is to actually, as part of the IPM Day team, work in partnership with people to help them plan and encourage them to actually schedule these events. And along those lines, I'm going to be looking for people who would be IPM Day ambassadors. And that means that you're going to go out there well beyond your community and get people to know about it. You know, hey, do you know that there's something called International Project Management Day? And lots of people are still not aware of it. What we want to do is we want to get more notoriety, more information out there about what's happening as a project management profession, as career opportunities, youth in project management, events that recognize people, all those different things that we want to do. So think about this IPM Day ambassador type of role and help us out in getting the messages out to the much larger project management community. Now, we're kind of getting near the end of the actual planned presentation here, but up until now, it's really been about what we call the power of the profession, okay? And if you think about project management, as I said before, and one of the quotes that I use as an opening in many of my presentations about the future of project management and so on, is that you can see the value of project management in any skyline. Now, just think about that. I mean, the skyline didn't get there by accident. It was planned and it was built, but it was started with a group of people who had a vision, and then they put together a plan, they put together the right people, and they produced it. And we see that anywhere around the world, no matter what you do, the car you drive, the cell phone that you're using, whatever, everything is about projects. So we have a methodology, and most of you are familiar with PMBOK as a framework and Prince2 as a methodology, and there's people that do Agile and Scrum and so on. It is about methodology, but it really starts with a professional project manager. So the theme will always be power of the profession, but the profession is powered by the professional, and that's you. So if we can make sure that people understand that the job that you do requires a certain skill set, it requires dedication and commitment, persistence, creativity, a certain amount of passion. You have to kind of really, really like it. What we have here is the power of the professional, and that's really what I want to focus on. Many of you that are practicing project managers, if you're a PMI officer, you're giving back to the community. Most of you, or many of you, have worked on community projects to rebuild a school or clean up a park or somehow help people in need. With the devastation of Sandy, you would be amazed at how many people are involved in giving back to the community. I'd like to see it as more of our fellow project managers getting involved in doing things, giving back to the community, writing articles, sharing knowledge, doing webinars, things like that. We are planning, or at least I would like to see this happen in 2013. One of the dreams that I had many years ago was to have an event focused specifically on recognizing project managers, an IPM Day event, and I was thinking about could we do this in Epcot Center in Disney World. And some of you I know have been there, but Epcot is, if you've been there, you know there's an international community right there in Florida where multiple countries are represented. And if we could somehow do an event in Epcot, and I'm going to talk to the Florida chapters and see if there's a way to pull this together, to have an event where we bring in project managers from around the world to share in this international environment and actually have a conference that emphasizes the importance of project managers and recognizes project managers. So that's what we mean by the focused event. I'm going to call it, or I would like to call it, the Project Manager Exchange, and it's actually a little bit different than other things because it will be not professional speakers so much as what you would hear in the World Congresses and all these different PDDs and so on, but the project managers who want to get up and talk about their experiences, what they did as a project manager, to get them some exposure to the people out in the world. You could look at it as a way of expanding your career, showing your skills, getting in front of a large group of people. So as this project basically unfolds, we're going to need a project team, we'll need a project manager, and we'll have to put together a plan and really look at the feasibility of doing something like this. But I think that this would be a major, major event that would really give an opportunity to people who wouldn't normally get the opportunity to be on stage and speaking to a large group. So more information will come out about that, but the Project Manager Exchange is something that would really, truly give back to the community. So I'm excited about it, and I'd like to see if we can get some input, some ideas, and some suggestions to make something like this happen. Okay? At this point, I've covered all of the things that I wanted to cover in terms of details and where we're at with the International Project Management Day. I have some questions here, and a few people want to make a couple of comments. So I'm going to actually, in just a minute, Elaine, I think that's Elaine Jackson, right? okay, wants to say a few words. Now, Elaine, before I bring Elaine on, I don't know too many people that work like Elaine. I don't think that she sleeps. She works all the time. Unfortunately, she also suffered the flu, and she's recovering from that. So the two of us kind of were down and out for a while, and we're picking up the pieces here and getting going again. Elaine and I spoke for about an hour on Saturday, strategizing how to get this book done to make sure that all those people involved will see the fruits of their labor. So I'm going to turn this over to Elaine in about 1 minute. Fred Valenzano would like a copy of the slide deck. No problem. We'll send you a copy of that. If you send either myself or Kay Weiss an email, we'll send it directly to you. And I have a note here that says, Joseph Fernandez. Hey, Joseph, how are you? It's nice to see you in Vancouver. Is responsible for putting up the LinkedIn page. Okay, so anyway, Elaine, if you're there, we're going to give you the microphone. You want to say a few words?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, everybody, hello from Massachusetts. We got our first little bit of snow today. That was great. But whenever Frank tells you that people are staying up late, the only reason he could see it is because he's up too. Okay, Frank? So there. So anyway, my comments on the project, I wanted to give recognition to my team. This was an awesome project, and I'm going to be cognizant of the time. I'm going to take like maybe just 2 minutes. I wanted to thank Joseph Fernandez, who actually did the LinkedIn page, and he also helped coordinate the evaluators and keep everybody reporting their scores. Terry Jones and Gail Balmer actually worked on the evaluation tool and helped bring it to life so that they could actually have the scores tallied from all the writers. Frank Pollock worked on the website, and then we had so many people volunteer as evaluators, and then we had an unbelievable proofreading team that got together on weekends, even on the holiday, and late at night. There were some meetings that happened because of the time zones at 12 at night, 6 a.m. in the morning. So we just kept altering the time so that people could be involved, and it was just, it was a bigger project than we had planned, but we were glad to just move it forward. And we're looking forward to seeing this project, not so much that it ends, but that we can see the fruits of its labor. And I just want to thank you, Frank, and everyone else that had any part in keeping this project going, to giving us that opportunity. Can you hear me?
Okay, Elaine, thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to, again, thank Elaine. She worked very hard in this, and the team was amazing in putting this together. This was a kind of a, just to give you a little background about how this all got started. The UK chapter put together something called Synergy 2011. And Synergy 2011, one of the speakers there by the name of Peter Taylor, who wrote the book The Lazy Project Manager, decided that it would be great to do a book in a day. Okay, so that's what he called it, a book in a day. And the concept was that they had something like 300 people attend this symposium, and that each person there would write a brief story, and we're going to collect 300 articles and turn this into a book in a day. That never actually happened. They couldn't get it off the ground. And, you know, I kind of picked up the ball and said, you know, well, maybe not a book in a day, but a day in the life of the project manager would be of interest to a lot of people, and people would begin to share some thoughts about their experiences in managing projects. And I can tell you that I could tell you war stories. We could go on for hours talking about interesting things that happened in managing projects. So the idea was, hey, let's capture real project managers involved in real projects and dealing with real challenges and so on. Whether they're serious or they're humorous, either or will work just fine. And Elaine put together the team, the plan, and pulled it all together, and they were actually managed to do a phenomenal amount of work in a very, very brief period of time. So the entire team, Elaine is the leader, but the entire team really deserves quite a bit of credit for that, and they will be recognized officially. That's all coming in the near future too. We have some questions here about the board of director positions. What we're going to do is I had to look into, what does it take to actually start a not-for-profit organization, and there was some preliminary work that had to be done to basically we have to kind of prove that that it's needed. Okay, and I think I've got all the information I need to show that this is needed. The next step, of course, that we would do is then we would put out a call and for nominations, and you can nominate yourself and so on, and we will provide some details about what these positions are, and we'll post them on the website, and that's going to happen and through the early part, probably first quarter of 2013. So as we get the information, we're going to post that. But the idea behind the not-for-profit and the directors is that, we think this is a great concept. We think recognition of people managing projects is important. We think that we have a lot of work to do to reach out to the communities. We'd like to partner with PMI chapters, and we'd certainly like to partner more with the Educational Foundation with their work in the youth and project management. We certainly want to work more with Young, who happens to be in Singapore. He's done some amazing things with some of the youth down there. So there are several activities going on in Italy. There's several PMI chapters, and I think it's North Italy chapter, and I have to verify this. They are doing some amazing things with working with children, and I attended their session when I was in Marseille, France earlier this year. So there are lots of things going on, and the idea is that we're a little bit fragmented, and we need to have a strategy, and we need to have a core group of people that will help us to look into the future, and then we're going to need the operations people to help kind of work this together. And I just want to emphasize, I'm not trying to create another PMI here. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. I'm just simply saying that we're very, very focused on this recognition and value of project management, and we're just a supplement. But for me, it's been very enjoyable. It's been a lot of fun. I've got to meet a lot of new people. People are excited about having these events, and we just want to keep encouraging that. So the interest is purely in the project manager community here, but we have to find a way to manage some of these ideas and these operations that we're going to move forward with. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments or anything, Kay?
We do have a, can you see the new one?
Okay, let me see what we have here. Okay. I am curious, why is IPM Day not incorporated into PMI? Well, PMI years ago decided that they would support the idea but not get involved in anything. They have their own projects and programs in place, and they have their own board of directors doing strategic planning. They have their own programs and so on. So they basically said they would simply support it. You will notice that when PMI Today comes out in, I think it's in December, that you will see at least a page or two of the events that took place around the world in PMI. So they are recognizing it, although they don't have an official presence at this time. I could go back to Mark Langley and ask about how we might get them more involved in it. But right now, it's just simply something that they support, that they like, but it's not part of their specific plans. Okay, that was, let me see if there's questions here. Getting low, bottom ranking, what is that? How can we promote this at the local level? That was asked by Curtis. Okay, I think that number one, when you say local level, you have to start with your own organization. And if you are a project manager and you have a small group of project managers, or maybe you have a PMO or something like that, my suggestion would be at least let them know about the website. Say, go to the website, hey, this is an idea, maybe there's some things that we can do. So first thing is awareness that it does exist. The second thing is you might send out a memo saying, hey, by the way, put this on your calendar, that International Project Management Day, it's the first Thursday of November every year. This 2013, it will be November 7th, correct? November 7th? right, November 7th. So then what we have on the website, we have some videos and some suggestions on how to actually plan an event. So I'm going to say start small, let people know that the day exists, then start thinking about small recognition, at least by teams. If you want to have a larger recognition, it could be anything like a coffee break or something like that. But I think it's really make sure people know that the day does exist, that there are people out there that are actually doing events for the purpose of recognition, and build on from there. So at least let people know that it's out there. Okay, do you have to be in New York to volunteer? No. This is a worldwide organization. We have people in Singapore, Lebanon, France, Staten Island, New York, La Crosse, Wisconsin, Toronto, Canada, San Diego. We have them, they're pretty much everywhere. We would really like to see this build up more. This is a true, virtual is not the right word. I think people don't like that word virtual, but we're a truly distributed team. We need to have presence in as many countries as possible. And the volunteer work, a lot of it would be done electronically, through Skype, webinars, things like that. Those that get involved in the actual events, and like I said, we're starting to pull together plans. If you become a volunteer to work on some of these events, my kind of vision on this is that if we have a core team of 6 people to create an event in Epcot, then those volunteers would be physically there, and we would arrange for you to get there. So you can be anywhere you want, but we're going to find ways to bring this community together, not only electronically, but whenever possible in person. So if we can make this happen, if we can get the appropriate sponsors and people are interested in doing it, then it becomes a reality. So you can be anywhere. Board of Directors, like I said before, we're going to get more information put up on the website in the first quarter. We'd really like to get this going and have it up in place, and we'll follow the procedures to do that, to make that happen. So there'll be more information on the Board of Directors in the near future. Do you have position available for Board of Directors? Okay, we have a few that we are looking at as far as titles go. We haven't set the exact number of Board of Directors yet. I think the original number was 6, and I think we may expand that a little bit more. So when we start to put the information about Board of Directors, take a look at the website, and there will be more information for you. IPM Day Ambassador, 1 per country. No, we can have 1 per city if you want, 1 per county. There's no limit on that. The thing is that, look at it this way. PMI has something like 260-something chapters worldwide. It would be great to have 260 IPM Day ambassadors, 1 for every chapter. But then we have corporations everywhere. It would be nice to have an IPM Day ambassador for corporations. So the opportunity is great. And use your imagination in terms of how we want to do that. Anyone can be an ambassador. What we would do is we would have to coordinate how to work together with the volunteers. I think Mark is asking that question. He's concerned about having 20 million volunteers. Mark, we're going to work out, if you're an IPM Day ambassador, basically you're a person going out promoting the fact that it exists. If you're a volunteer, then you're going to have a specific work assignment to do, and that's going to differentiate what we call an ambassador versus a volunteer, okay? Let's see. I'm sorry, Frank, this window. Didn't see your message. Okay, I think that, yeah, Marie, hi Marie, if you're still up there. Cold and damp and icy today in Boston. Okay, I'm actually in South Jersey in Toms River, and it's not icy, but it's definitely cold, damp, and a little rainy. So anyway, I hope I've answered most of the questions. Anybody have any other questions or comments or anything? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, one here says here, Frank mentioned the IIL IPM Day training videos are available to view on December 31st. Yes, you will get, if I'm not mistaken, because of the number of videos that are available, I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that if you actually watch all of the videos in this virtual webinar, I think it's 31 PDUs. Each at the end of every video, they will show you the PDU number, and then you record the number for your recording for your personal profile. So the videos are all well done. They're all professionally recorded. All the videos are somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes in duration, and all the PDU information will be on there. So if you go to the IIL website, register. You can register for free, but they're only going to be available until December 31st. And if you like these videos, I know that they're going to sell a DVD with all those videos on them. I don't have any details on that, but if you go to IIL's website, you can certainly get all that information. You definitely get the PDUs up until the 31st. Okay, the website, if it's the question that Rajiv is asking, the website is www.iil.com, and if you go there, it will direct you to the virtual event. And I tell you, it's really worth it. I mean, it's just an amazing thing, so definitely visit. Okay, the International Project Management Day URL is www.internationalpmday.org. And we certainly invite you to go there and share your comments and tell us how we can make that website even better. Okay? Now let's see, it says here, legal restrictions on this type of, some larger corporations have legal restrictions on this type of stuff. Yes. Will you have legal support to address and requirements? Well, you know, I would say that as we go into the not-for-profit, we do have to work with attorneys, and we can certainly, you know, answer questions. But the thing that you have to be aware of with these corporations is that they have proprietary information that they may not want to share. If they have an event, it might be an internal private event that they've not allowed the public to be involved in. We had one organization we were attempting to get an article written from, actually it was a government organization, and we went through the procedures, and unfortunately the government said, no, you can't do it. So we will get issues and legal requirements, and we have to be very careful about what we say about corporations. And you know, I'm not an attorney, so I would say that as we get through the process, then we will provide more information. As far as the logo goes, we do have a logo, and we've been, if people want to use the logo, we have asked them to send us a request for permission to use the logo. Okay, there will be some additional logo policies posted on the website, but if you are planning to use the logo, you do have to send in a note asking for permission. We'd like to get that on file. So the logo is not to be used without getting an okay to use it. So if you plan on using it, putting on something, we want to make sure that everything is coordinated through the International Project Management Day team. Okay, how can I become a volunteer? Well, Mark is the coordinator for volunteers. You can send him an email and tell him about your background and what you might be interested in. Mark is doing a great job of trying to coordinate people to do different things. One of the things that we have to be aware of is that we are now growing, and because we're growing, we're going to need people to do certain things to make things happen. And then as we make things happen, the volunteers will get work. So it's sort of like a kind of an expanding thing. We get a person to lead an effort, they need volunteers. We get volunteers, and then another effort, and so on. So it's going to grow like that. But we do need people to manage the webinars. We need people to get the news briefs out, to maybe work with us to expand the products that are going to go in the IPM Day store, to possibly plan the event that I mentioned, the Project Manager Exchange. Now, those things are going to keep you busy, okay? And, you know, we're starting out with like zero money right now. We don't have much to go on, but we have lots of people that can make things happen. We can start to generate some revenue to take care of the work of the volunteers and make sure they get the supplies and things that they need. So we are expanding, and it's in 2012 tells us that there's tremendous potential waiting for us out there to help contribute to the project manager community. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions that I've seen. And is there anybody have any other questions?
You have emails on the next slide, right?
I'm sorry?
You have emails on the next slide.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see what we've got next slide here. Oh, okay. All right, to become an active IPM Day ambassador, that's our call to action. Call to action basically is to become one. Get out there and tell people, hey, International Project Management Day exists. It's there, and here's the reasons why. We're putting together an ambassador package so that you can use that to help promote it. And we want to make sure that people get out there and understand, that IPM Day is something that we're really doing to recognize these project managers. Spread the word. Why do we have IPM Day? Recognition of project managers. Now, like I said before, I'm operating at about 80%, so I just don't have the energy that I normally have. But I have to tell you, this is, and it makes people laugh, but it's true. In many of the seminars that I'm at, I would start out in the very beginning by asking the question, when you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, how many of them have said, I want to be a project manager? And the answer is probably none. No one ever did. But if you think about what project managers do, okay, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit here, but just think about, you're building a space shuttle, okay? You are the project manager for the opening event of the Olympics. Okay, you're building a sports stadium, or you're the project manager that redoes the total renovation of Madison Square Garden in New York City. That you're a project manager going to build a bridge across a major expansion somewhere. Okay, it's a new vehicle. You're the project manager that landed a vehicle to drive around on Mars. I mean, everybody here, every one of those examples involve projects and project teams. That's really exciting stuff. So let's not limit ourselves to, project managers build buildings and do IT work. Project managers organize rock concerts, okay? They organize parties. They plan weddings. I mean, everywhere you look, somebody's doing something that's associated with project management. So think about spreading the word and thinking about how do you get people to be more interested in a career as a project management professional. Make sure that your organizations are aware that it is. Get out there. I mean, I've talked to a few folks about greeting cards to send to people on International Project Management Day just to say thank you. So like I said, it's really about, start with you personally. The reason that you're on this call is because you're interested in project management. Most people that I know in PMI and even in IPMA and other organizations are very passionate about doing their job and doing it well. And what I'm going to do is make sure that other people know just how hard that work is sometimes. So if you have suggestions, ideas, if you want to get more involved, if you want to send us some creative ideas about how to really go to the next level, because that's what we have to do. You have Frank Saladis' email, you have KY's, you got Mark, you got Laura, who handles the sister city. So send us a note. Help us out. Expand things out as much as you can. We'd like to see 2013 to be a truly amazing year. And I'm really excited about New Orleans myself. I mean, live concert, live party, networking event of project managers who are professionals having a good time. So and learning things also. So anyway, I'm hoping to hear from you. If you have any kind of suggestion to help us out, and we really appreciate it. And thank you for all the work that you did, Elaine, your team, Laura, Mark, Kay, everyone that's been out there, Frank Pollock. It's just done a great job, and Joseph Fernandez. So just anything you can do to help us out, we're open to suggestions. We are going to make this much, much bigger in 2013 and could certainly use your help. Okay? So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I know that everybody's real busy on a Monday, but and if you want copies of the slide deck, including the one on that Sandy disaster recovery, you can send me an email. We'll make sure that you get a copy. And I think that this will also be put up on the website. So thank you very much, everybody, and I appreciate your time. Take care.